Welcome to Hawaiian Shirt Fridays. Here, I am your host, Taylor Jackson. This is an Aloha shirt. I apologize to Hawaiians in general for the misrepresentation of what a Hawaiian shirt is in mainstream culture. Now with that out of the way, we can talk about off-camera flash. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking to you specifically about the items that I'm going to be using and what I believe to be the best setup for wedding photographers and my favorite setup that I've ever had. And then Monday or Tuesday, I'm actually going to get into the technique and how I use off-camera flash. I feel like it's different for wedding photographers than it may be for other styles of photographers. Like for instance, I can't just walk into a reception room and set up two huge like off-camera soft boxes with studio strobes and just be on those all night, because it really does impact the guest experience. And I do everything I can to make sure that whatever is actually like what the day looks like, I want that to be the representation of my photos. I don't want to completely override what they've set up at the wedding. My other stance on off-camera flash is that I don't use it unless I absolutely have to, that I am rarely actually using off-camera flash. And if I am using it, typically I would say in 99.9% of cases, I'm just using one. I don't have multiple flashes set up around the room, even though this setup that we're going to talk about is like entirely capable of way more than I could ever desire. I use off-camera flash primarily if I walk into a room and it's just bad quality of light. Cameras are so good now that if I walk into a room and it's just dark, but the quality of light is actually really good and everybody's faces look great, that I will just shoot ambient within that. But if I find myself in a space with like little tiny pot lights and just like a lot of challenging lighting pockets, at that point is usually when I'll actually go to an off-camera flash. How I actually set it up and everything is, that's the Monday, Tuesday talk. So I basically, like all this stuff here, this is the accessory kit for this flash. I don't use any of it. It just kind of looks impressive. It comes with like everything you could ever need, like a grid and a diffuser, and you can stack them all together. It's all magnetic. You can put your bounce card in here and then just put it all on there. But I really only use the CTO gels. CTO is a fancy word for color temperature orange. It comes with a few different orange varieties. So this one's the medium orange. I don't actually know if there's differences, if it's a CTO like 1-to-1 or whatever, half, or I should look that up. Anyways, this is the middle one. I feel like it's good enough for pretty much everything that I've found myself in. What I use that for is if I walk into a room and every single light in the entire room is all kind of that orange incandescent light, and I want my flash to match that, so that it just kind of like, if I'm focused on somebody here, they look like they actually belong in the scene, rather than me white balancing for the just bare flash and then hitting them with it, and they're going to be kind of very properly white balanced, but then the background is all going to be all orange and strange and muddy. There are cases that looks good, but I find that when I'm in incandescent settings, usually I'm going to be using my incandescent light. I usually do my best to hide flash, even if it's an on-camera flash. I do my best to hide it and not make it look like it's just a flash lit shot. So what I have in front of me here is the Godox V1N. So if you're a Nikon shooter, use the V1N. If you're a Sony shooter, use the V1S. If you're a Canon shooter, V1C. And it is, I'm going to say, the most powerful flash unit that I've ever used. It's also, I guess, incredible for a number of reasons. The one reason, and the funniest reason, is that it has this lithium-ion battery that like literally goes in like this. The recycle time on this is pretty much nothing. For instance, a 1-to-1 hit of the full power of the light takes like a second to recycle, and I don't think that I would ever be using a 1-to-1 like full power burst, but somewhere around like maybe 1/32 power is usually where I'd be sitting, or maybe 1/64. And there's just like, you could just literally hit this as many times as you want and it'll never go orange. So you can just take as many shots as you want. Kind of feels like Kanye West concert in here right now. And then the battery will just kind of last forever as well. I don't think that I've ever even seen this down beyond halfway, and I've used it a lot. Obviously charge it when you get home from the wedding, but on a typical wedding day, you're probably never going to find the end of this battery. Probably over 5 wedding days, you would probably never find the end of this battery, even if you used it a lot. This flash, super powerful, although I don't use it nearly to its full capabilities. I like the fact that it just always works, and specifically with this trigger that you just put on your camera here, or transmitter, that these guys just work together flawlessly. And again, this is overpowered for what I need, that you can do multiple channels. You can have like a B, C, D, E channel, like all kinds of off-camera flashes all set up on different, like on different groups. But as a wedding shooter, I am never really gonna be using that, which is fine by me. I want the basics to work. I've used pocket wizards in the past and they're fine, but I just find that they don't work as well as they should all of the time, that I'll have to like reset the hot shoe every now and then for triggering and transmitting. And with this, it's just like everything is just functional, which I love. And I feel like on a wedding day, the less things that I have to troubleshoot, the better. So basically all you do is you just set it to receiver mode, and then you put it down. And when I adjust settings on here, my manual settings, they actually adjust on here as well. So I don't have to run over to my flash and change it. I can just like do that from here, which is really awesome. If you are a TTL shooter, maybe this is also going to be very helpful for you to have multiple different flashes on TTL. But I find just like when it comes to me trying to hide the flash as best I can, to have manual control over it, especially manual control that I can actually adjust up here, is something that's super valuable for me. So that's really it when it comes to my technical. I don't use any of these. This Godox V1 N for me is pretty much everything that I've just ever needed in a flash that I never really thought could exist. And then this Xpro N controller is just like, again, everything is just easy, everything works, everything feels built solid. It'll last a day, it'll last probably several years. I don't think I've ever really found the end of a flash as far as the bulb goes, so I'm not ever worried about that happening with this. So that's really it. These two pieces of gear really will help you with any possible situation you could ever find yourself in at a wedding day, and it will just work. Again, which is like the thing that I've wanted forever. It's that even when they go to sleep, it wakes up properly, and just like, it just works all the time. So I'm into this. I like this a lot. On Monday, Tuesday, we're gonna get more into actual off-camera flash technique. If you're interested in these, there are links in the description below, but the V1 N flash and the Xpro N controller. My goal has always been just to kind of help you out with your wedding photography career, and I'll test things and I'll tell you if they're good or bad. And I am super happy with this, and I will be using this for years to come. So you will not regret purchasing these units. See you next time on Non-Hawaiian Shirt Friday.